Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka
She must think I'm the most stupid person alive.
and we are back with another Twitter thread. Today we're talking about packs, and not the one that keeps winning YCSs. I'm asking you to tell me the greatest Yu-Gi-Oh pack of all time, and unfortunately I have the answer right here in the intro. Duelist Alliance. Duelist Alliance is probably the most transformational pack in Yu-Gi-Oh's history. For me, Yu-Gi-Oh existed before Duelist Alliance and after in two completely separate variations. This pack had Shadalls, Yangzings, Burning Abyss, Tellers. It's responsible for how we think about a combo deck in the modern era, and ushered in a lot of the back and forth gameplay that we now enjoy. One player sets up, the other tries to break an OTK. Let's see what you all came up with. Doug says Flames of Destruction is definitely up there. Multi-Faker, Ghost Bell, Imperm, Sekazite, Called by Red Reboot, and a lot of cool rogue stuff as well. Well, the one that I skipped over is of course the most important of all of them, Nightmares. Every single Nightmare changed the game in such fundamental ways. All of a sudden, everyone had access to removal without even having to dip into like two monsters of the same level for something like a Castel. Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Cerberus truly invalidated a significant amount of game plans at the time, and it's a step forward that we have been continuing to tread ever since. Sophie has a correct answer. I maintain the Shining Darkness is one of the most underrated answers to this. Completely upended the meta at the time, introduced a number of cards that are played to this day, Spore and Ronin, and most importantly introduced the modern turn 1 negate spam strategy of Infernity Perfection. Banger set. Banger in that after it came out, I was banging my head against the wall trying to figure out exactly how I was going to continue to justify playing this game. This is the set that ended Edison format, and boy oh boy did it ever. Responsible for probably the most degenerate FTKs ever seen, years before there were tools to deal with them. I would argue one of the worst sets of all time in terms of, game balance, but in that way, it's also one of the most important sets as well. Power of the Elements, a correct answer as well. This was a Duelist Alliance tier turning point in the game's design principles that was followed up by 3 bangers that built upon the direction, Tama, Dabble, and Mama, as well as introducing the most interesting archetype ever printed. 6 months later, they got scared and undid it all. I don't know if I would say that, but it is funny that like this set redefined what a deck was allowed to do and set a new series of guidelines as to when decks were permitted to start playing, what they were permitted to play through, how they were able to interact with their opponent, and then immediately after they were like, what if we made Kashtira? What if the next thing we did was make a Rise Heart? Rise of the Duelist, great answer. Not enough people credit Rise of the Duelist with ushering a new age of Yu-Gi-Oh, but it absolutely did. This was the first set after Yu-Gi-Oh was no longer tethered to an anime, stacked with playables, multiple staples that defined contemporary Yu-Gi-Oh, and began the branded storyline that gave us so many modern decks. This is probably the right answer. Let's actually look up the Duel Overload page right now. Hulk banned. Gilgamesh played in DDD to this day. Wystrix played in Raid Raptor to this day. Carrier banned. Ballista played in Terrible Ass Earth Machine to this day. Mirage Lights played in Drytron to this day. Simorg banned. Infernal Devicer played in Hero to this day. Celine played in everything to this day. Crossroads enjoyed a stint of playability. Mechafan Beast Auroradon banned. Akashima played in Xyz decks to this day. Dagda responsible for a different ban. Bloom Harmonist, part of a tiered meta deck as we speak. Vertanaconda banned. Hyper Director, thank God this card was made. Lib the World Keyblade Master played for years after release. Zeke continued to be played in Sky Striker decks to this day. There's like 15 total links in this set, and like 5 of them are banned. Awesome. Though it usually gets lost in the shuffle between Duelist Alliance and Bosch, Core is a set that marks the perfect shift between Duelist Alliance and later Arc 5, with additions like Perform Age, Cosmo, Decatron, and Brilliant Fusion. It's interesting because I think at release people didn't think this was going to be the case, but it was. A lot of these archetypes required one additional pack in Bosch to fill out their archetypes, but even stuff like Cosmo Wave 1 were taking names out of the back. Absolute Power Force. This is the most recent set that's allowed in Edison format, which easily gives it the gold. Whenever players switch from TCG to Edison, you can thank Absolute Power Force for keeping them playing Yu-Gi-Oh at all. What's in it? Drill Warrior? Yep, that's an important one. Great answer in Phantom Darkness. This pack probably goes down in infamy due to what it did to the game's price, but it is my personal favorite due to the sheer number of cool cards in it. Armonite, Greffer, Dad, Allure, Super Poly, Dark Creator, Lone Fire. This was the first set I remember as a kid being really into. The concept that there were evil, twisted, fucked up version of my favorite critters like the Armed Dragon and the Creator was so exciting. Ooh, Wing Raiders! Underrated answer. I do kind of like it. Wing Raiders on release was not expected to make a huge splash, but this is the one with the Phantom Knights in it, right? Completely revolutionized how Burning Abyss was played at the time, and importantly also included the Super Quantums, which revolutionized then already powerful extra deck Monarch, and also, you know, Super Quant. Super Quant was good. Like, Calvin Tahan won an ARGCS with it. It's cool. Throwing out Cecil as a personal favorite of mine. Last deck build pack with the old Rarity system, each archetype had a strong meta presence, either on release or later when support was printed. 2/3 of the decks are still pretty relevant in fan works too. Cecil format was not fun, and I appreciate that it happened during COVID, so we had a pretty good excuse to not be playing it, but I can't deny that it was a pack designed to make you build a deck, and 2 of the 3 decks in it were tier 1. The third one was playable eventually. Rarity Collection, yeah, one of the greatest packs of all time for making meta staples affordable for new players, giving shinier versions of them for old players. Perfect pack and set, and you can't convince me otherwise. Rarity Collection 2, not as good. Rarity Collection 3, quarter big bungus bonanza. It was all right. I think the nostalgia pool was a bit of a misfire, but Rarity Collection 4, coming soon. The Duelist Genesis started the Age of Synchros and changed everything about this game. There's an argument that this had a Duelist Alliance style change on how we played Yu-Gi-Oh! And it really was fantastic. Unfortunately, the surrounding format was not. Phantom Rage, another set that at release people were kind of mid on. They were like, I don't want the new Phantom cards, no. But this set had not only powerful Phantom Knights, but also the Virtual Worlds and the Tri-Brigades. It's crazy to think that at release people were like, Tri-Brigades, they seem all right. I was picking up fractals for a pittance. It was $30 after the first week. God, sometimes I play a deck and I think to myself, man, remember when we could just activate Fractal? Gotta agree. Dabble is a really good set, kind of an unsung great among them. Bestials at Super, the 2 best cash monsters at Ultra, who remembers $70 Fenrir, me. Lubellion and Regained changed Dragon Link Branded and Thunder. Sprind for Sprite and Tier, Daruma, Cartesia, set buffed like 20 decks direct and indirect, and it was so cool to have really powerful hand traps and going second options like Fenrir and the Bestials after release. I liked this set a lot. Dune! Oh! Dune, another set that at release people were like, it's okay. But no, Dune format was so fun. Revolution Synchron, another card that people told me was going to absolutely change the game forever and ended up doing nothing. Unchained, what a fun deck. Rescue Ace, one of my favorites of all time. Even this fucking pile was playable. Oh, Agov, my beloved. What a wonderful set. Ugh, there are times during the darkest of Yu-Gi-Oh's formats that I think, you know, maybe Konami's lost it. Maybe there is no more sauce. Maybe the toothpaste is out of the tube and we can never make a fun and interesting format again. It's just going to be boring ass monster slop combo all the way down, and then Dune and Agov. It was heartening looking at these to see the same packs mentioned over and over. We as a Yu-Gi-Oh community are pretty good at identifying where the highs are, and we're pretty good at knowing when we're experiencing the lows. Banger in that after it came out, I was... I said, fuck Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm gonna go get banged. No, let me try another one.